Hey guys, and welcome to MTG headquarters. My name is Sean, and I'm here to talk to you today about a format that we like to play called Planechase. Now, I'm sure some of you guys have actually heard of Planechase before. Plenty of decks have been actually released for Planechase in the past, and just recently we've actually had the Planechase anthologies released by Magic the Gathering, which is going to be a box set containing quite a few of the Planechase cards, the 60 card decks that came with them when they did come out. And I'd like to just run through a couple of my favorite ones right now. Now, for my play group, we actually only really play Planechase in like an EDH format, and that's because some of the cards are pretty taxing on 60 card decks. But when we're playing EDH, you have way more cards to deal with problems like this, and you're going to have way more mana and way more time to try and move on from planes. Speaking of which, the first thing I'm going to talk about today is this little die that I happen to have right here. This is the Planechase. This is the Planner die that comes with either the Planechase cards, or it's going to come in the Dual Decks anthology, or in the Planechase anthology. Excuse me for that. And it's a 6-sided die, and it has two symbols on two of the sides. One is the Planeswalker symbol, which is face up right now, and then on the exact opposite side is a Chaos symbol. Now, each of those symbols are going to represent something on each of the cards I'm about to show you if you've never seen Planechase cards before. And then each other side of the die is, as you can see, completely blank. So we're going to start off here with just some regular plain cards. There's two types of cards in Planechase. There's plain cards and there's phenomenons. So some of the plain cards that I have picked here were either, notoriously good for EDH or notoriously bad for EDH. Sometimes they are really, really taxing, and sometimes they're a lot of fun to actually encounter. So one of my playgroup's favorite planes to actually encounter is Grove of the Dream Pods right there. So it has, when you planeswalk to Grove of the Dream Pods, or at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card in the battlefield, and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. So that means every single turn that you have, or the second that you actually walk to this place, you actually get to look through the top until you find that creature. Hopefully it's something great. Most of the time, for some of our players, it ends up being not a great creature to hit the field, but you get that creature essentially for free. Now, of course, you won't get the cast triggers or anything like that, but you'll get regular enter the battlefield triggers, and of course, you'll just have the creature at the end of the day. Now, the Chaos is the box at the bottom of the card. It has that Chaos symbol that I showed you before here on the Chaos dice. And it says, whenever you roll Chaos, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So not only is it going to be giving you creatures for free off the top of your library, but it's also going to give you a little bit of built-in recursion in case your creatures happen to die. Now, during your turn, I feel it's important to stress this now, you can roll once for free. That it can only happen during your main phases, of course. There's no other time that you could possibly roll. You can't roll on anybody else's turn. You can't roll during your combat phase or anything like that. Your first roll is free, costs you nothing. After that, each consecutive roll will cost you exactly one colorless mana more than it did the previous time. So if I were to roll it once on my turn, completely free. If I were to roll it again, though, it's going to cost me one more, and then so on and so forth. So sometimes a lot of people choose to use all of their mana on a particular plane just to get away from it. That can happen with a lot of the worst planes that we happen to have. Continuing on, we're going to go to the Stairs to Affinity. You have no maximum hand size, and whenever you roll the planner die, draw a card. That's pretty nice for a lot of people, especially in decks that don't have a lot of card draw when you're up against people that do. So now whenever you roll Chaos, you're going to reveal the top card of the planner deck, and you may put it on the bottom of the planner deck. You're essentially scrying the next planar phenomenon that you may go to, which can help you out a lot so that you're going to make sure that you don't go to somewhere that's going to mess up your game. Another one of the better planes I like to go to is the Maelstrom. When your planeswalk to the Maelstrom or at the beginning of your upkeep, you may reveal the top card of your library. If it's a permanent, you may put it on the battlefield, otherwise put it on the bottom of your library. Now, it's just a lot like Grove of the Dream Pods, except it's just any permanent, instead of having to search for a creature. So a lot of people can like that. It's kind of a little bit like a Blue Braids effect or something like that. It doesn't exactly take it out of your hand and put it on the battlefield, but you're getting something for nothing. And whenever you roll Chaos with this card, return target permanent card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Exactly like Grove of the Dream Pods, except it's any permanent instead of just a creature. Ancestral Arena is one of those cards that you may not like it depending if you're the board presence of the game, or you're going to like it a lot if you're a little bit low on creatures at that moment. It kind of has a Silent Arbiter effect with no more than one creature can attack, and no more than one creature can block during each of combat. However, it does have, whenever you roll Chaos, it's going to deal 2 damage to each creature. So if you're the player that's, you know, kind of low on creatures, they have, and your opponents have plenty, but none of them happen to have indestructibility or that too high of toughnesses, you may still want to try and roll just to get that 2 damage into all of those creatures that they happen to have, even though it may chance you walking away from this plane. Another one of the great planes that we actually like to play with is Kecak, and it kind of does a little bit of a similar thing. It's going to stop some combat. So it's going to say prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by non-werewolf creatures. Now, of course, you could just build a deck made out of werewolves and play that only whenever we're going to play Planechase, and then you never have to worry about this plane. But that's pretty hard to do pre the set that just came out for the new Shadows over Innistrad. But before then, it was really hard to build a deck out of just werewolf creatures. So it was essentially saying, we're not going to have any damage, no one's going to be losing any life unless if you roll Chaos. But if you roll that Chaos, each of your creatures are going to get +2/+2, trample, and then they're going to become werewolves until the end of the turn, so that way they can actually deal the damage instead of just sitting there looking pretty. And then the final plane is one of the least liked ones that we happen to play with. It's at the beginning of your end step, put the top 7 cards of your library into your graveyard, then return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand. So you're just going to be milling yourself for most of the game until you walk away from this plane. However, whenever you do roll a Chaos, you can return a card from your graveyard back to your hand. So you can basically hope that you mill something good, you can roll Chaos, and then you can get it right back into your hand, which would be pretty nice. It usually doesn't happen that way, though. I'm going to go through 4 of the phenomenons that we happen to have. Now, again, I happen to have every single Planechase card that was ever printed, and I have them all sleeved up, and that's what we play with every day. Keep in mind, your planner decks, you cannot have more than 1 plane card or phenomenon card in the deck for it to be a legitimate Planechase deck. Of course, you can do whatever you want. This is a casual format. Just have fun with it as far as I'm concerned, but I like to play it the way it was meant to be. So, one of the phenomenons that we play with is going to be Chaotic Aether. So whenever you encounter Chaotic Aether, each blank roll of the planner die is going to be a chaos roll until a player planeswalks away from the next plane. So whenever you encounter a phenomenon, its effect will happen, and then you go immediately to the next card, which sometimes it's actually a plane card. So if we were to hit this encounter, or if we were to hit this phenomenon, and then the next plane was, say, Mirrored Depths, every single blank roll of the die is going to be a Chaos, which is whenever you roll Chaos, target player reveals the top card of his or her library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. The next phenomenon I want to talk about is Planewide Disaster. It's just destroy all creatures. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory, just so you know that there is a board wipe inside of the plane deck. Another one of the great phenomenons that I love to see is Morphic Tide. It has a good feeling of chaos to it. So whenever you encounter Morphic Tide, each player shuffles all permanents he or she owns into his or her library, then reveals that many cards from the top of his or her library. Each player puts all artifact, creature, land, and planeswalker cards revealed this way onto the battlefield, then does the same for the enchantments. Then puts all cards that were revealed this way that weren't put into play onto the bottom of his or her library in any order. So it's important to note that your artifacts, creatures, lands, and planeswalkers all enter at the same exact time. So keep that in mind whenever you guys are all playing and you have multiple enter the battlefield triggers at the same time that something may happen. You need to make sure what all actually is going on and make sure that those enchantments enter after everything else. And the last phenomenon I want to talk about is Spatial Merging. It's one of my favorite ones because when you encounter Spatial Merging, reveal cards from the top of the planner deck until you reveal 2 planes. And then you simultaneously planeswalk to both of them. And then you put all other cards revealed this way on the bottom of the deck in any order. So basically, we're going to be in 2 planes at once. And if I were to just, take 2 planes and say we are now going to be on the Hedron Fields and Quicksilver Sea. Here, let me put that in the camera a little bit better for you. So if we have both of these planes at the same time, from now on until we planeswalk again, creatures with power 7 or greater can't attack or block, and you're going to be scrying 4 at each of your upkeeps. And whenever you roll Chaos, you will do both. Put a 7/7 colorless Eldrazi creature token with Annihilator 1 onto the battlefield, and you will also reveal the top card of your library, and you can pay it without paying its mana cost. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, my name is Sean. You can get at me at Twitter at @Paragon_19 with a capital P on Paragon. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks much.
What's up, and thanks for watching this video. I produce all different kinds of content, so if you haven't yet, click on my face to subscribe. If you want to watch more videos, I've got some sweet playlists, including this one, where I open up every fat pack ever created. I've also got this one over here where I open just about anything vintage and old and expensive for your enjoyment. And all this is made possible by the awesome backers at our Patreon, which is linked in the description of every video. Hop on over there, check it out, see if it's something you might want to consider. If not, sit back, enjoy, and I'll still love you.